Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all having a good day, as good as possible. This video is all about African parks, the not-for-profit or non-profit organisation. My goodness me. Now, a few of you had asked me in the comments at the video yesterday, and I think the day before as well, why I hadn't covered this story. And really, I'd seen it, but I thought I'm going to sit back and see what comes of it, because sometimes allegations are made and there's absolutely no foundation, or it's completely unfairly laid out there. And as allegations go, this is probably one of the most serious that any member of the British royal family has ever had waged against them. This puts Epstein, anything to do with Epstein, you know, these underage 33-year-old women who were getting on private jets and on an exotic island and having sex with men. I'm sorry, this, Indigenous people being bullied by park rangers, this is way worse, way worse. And as I understand it, and I have checked out not only the Daily Mail, because I believe this was a Mail on Sunday exclusive, I've checked out the Guardian newspaper. Guardian in the UK, for those that don't know, they want rid of the monarchy. They're very left-wing and liberal. I mean, not liberally minded. I mean, they're liberal Democrat. All of our newspapers they come from different angles. So I wanted to check it from the Daily Mail's point of view and the Guardian's, just to double check and see if there was a different perspective or different facts, and I discovered no, there isn't. They're pretty much in agreement. This is awful, really awful. So to my shame, despite the fact that we live about 14 miles off the coast of North Africa, I don't really know that much about the continent of Africa itself. I've wanted to go and visit a couple of times over the years. It's really expensive to get there. You know, we can't fly from Jib. I'm not sure we can fly from Malaga. I think we'd probably have to get the train to Madrid or fly to London and go from there. And then it's really expensive, you know, safari holidays, that sort of thing. And so I mean, it's out of our league. It's not something that we would find easy or accessible. And so I suppose out of sight, out of mind. So the first thing I wanted to do this morning was look up the Congo. And I didn't realise that there are two Congolese countries. Democratic Republic of Congo and Republic of Congo, very similar names, very confusing. But we watched some history videos, and then we watched the most ghastly images of little kids being used in cobalt mines. It's unbelievable. Cobalt, which is used in batteries on mobile phones, devices, electric cars, lithium batteries, apparently. I had no idea that this was going on. And me, I think I'm on my second mobile phone, which is starting to die on me. It's becoming slower, and people are always saying, get a new phone, get a new phone. And I don't like to, because I don't actually like waste. And I had no idea exactly the process of how a device is made, but I just feel people throw things in the bin too easily and say, get a new device, upgrade. And I am not one of those people, and thank God, oh God. The images of a little lad, 7 years old, being sent down a cobalt mine, and an adult over him with his hand raised, you know, get on with it. And this little kid with no shoes in the rain, looking thoroughly, as you can imagine, miserable. Well, this allegation of African parks is nothing to do with cobalt mines, but the more I always knew that with a lot of African countries, very complicated history, lots of exploitation from, I didn't realise, Belgium. I knew about France and the UK or Britain. You know, historically, we're going back a long way in history, but I had no idea that the exploitation continues today, not by France and Britain, but by billionaires who are making a lot of money and I guess us guys, buying devices. And what else can we do? That is a thing of our life. But the more I look into the difficulties in the Congo, the more complicated it gets. So I really can't go into that because I don't know and I don't understand. But I'm horrified that any of these things are going on. African parks, as I understand it, control, 12 nature reserves in 22 different countries, I think, or is it 12 countries in 22 parks? I think it might be 12 countries and 22 parks. I've made notes. Yeah, 22 national parks across 12 countries. Now, I don't know much about this charity, African Parks. I know a little bit. The idea that I always had was that they were there to stop poachers of animals, ivory trade, etc., that kind of thing. And I was aware that Harry was involved with one of them. I didn't know the name of the charity particularly. Well, it's not a charity, it's a not-for-profit. And according to an organisation called Survival International, this is an ongoing problem and it's been happening for a long time. So African parks employ rangers, and I mean, it appears to me it's not even an allegation. A man was dismissed, was convicted, was sent to jail, and was ordered to pay £1,300, the equivalent of, to a rape victim. That's an actual conviction. He's not named in the articles. I don't know how long the justice system takes anywhere in any Congolese country. I don't know precisely where this happened. Apparently it's an indigenous people called the Baka. Now, African Parks released a statement saying, "We encourage anyone with knowledge of any abuses to report them to us or to the Congolese law enforcement authorities, which will assist with the investigations and ensure that the perpetrators of any abuses are brought to justice." Well, firstly, to me, that statement sounds very hollow. Very hollow. We encourage anyone with any knowledge of abuses to report them to us. Us, the alleged people who employed the abusers, the park rangers. Yeah, come and we'll look into it and we'll investigate ourselves and we'll decide if we're going to find ourselves innocent or guilty. Okay, but then they go on to say, or the Congolese law enforcement. Now, I don't want to do the Congo down, but is that reliable? Congolese law enforcement? Now, the major thing is that Harry apparently has been a president of this not-for-profit for 6 years and was escalated to a board of directors. And he himself has released a statement. So, I mean, he's not ignoring it, thick as he is, he's not ignoring it. But it's quite, again, a lame statement. Well, very lame, pathetic. A spokesperson for Harry said, "When the Duke became aware of these serious allegations, he immediately escalated them to the CEO and chairman of the board of African Parks, the appropriate people to handle next steps." So he thinks it's appropriate. Allegations have been made against the organisation African Parks for employing rangers who have been doing this. So Harry thinks the appropriate people to handle the next steps are the alleged abusers. Really? Really? So if let's simplify it. Let's say there's a man called Joe Bloggs who's been accused of rape, and the police go and knock on his door and say, "Joe, could you do us a favour? Investigate yourself, find out if you're guilty or not guilty, and let us know the outcome. Because we think you, Joe, are the appropriate person to decide." And Joe goes, "No, I don't think I'm guilty." "Oh, well, that's all right then. That's all cleared up, innit?" It's all very well being involved in these charities, and what really shocks me is that people from this organisation, what's it called again? Survival International, say that they wrote specifically to Prince Harry last May in 2023. This would have been round about the time, well, Spare had been released, they'd done their Netflix thing. South Park had taken the piss out of them. I mean, I know he got that award, legend. He's a legend, accepting an award. How many red carpets, how many pap walks, how many puff pieces have happened between last May and now? And it seems to me he's only releasing a statement because the Mail on Sunday have been down there and doing an expose. And I actually applaud them for that, I really do. I can see why they're doing it. These atrocities have clearly been going on for a very long time and they never showed any interest before. But because they clearly have it in for Harry, they have been down, but at the same time, it's a good thing because it is bringing to people's attention. It's horrific to hear of this kind of thing. Now, these park rangers, I can well imagine, being full of arrogance because I cast my mind back and I remember a time, what's that guy called, that polo Spanish or Argentinian friend of Harry's? It's called Figueres or something like that. I can't remember his name, the polo player. And I saw him being interviewed on one of the American breakfast shows years ago, and he was defending Prince Harry. And he said, you don't understand the type of man that Prince Harry is. I'll tell you the type of man that Prince Harry is. We were at breakfast and we were about to play polo, and his servant came in and presented Prince Harry with, I don't know what it was, a polo t-shirt or knives and forks, cutlery, and it came in plastic. And Prince Harry threw it at the servant and said, don't ever present me with anything with plastic packaging again. You are killing the planet. And that is the man that Prince Harry is. And I remember thinking, you little shit, bragging about that on TV. Harry threw something back at a servant. A servant, firstly, the word servant. And how is it that person's fault what it's packaged in? And how arrogant and stupid for Harry to believe that the planet would be sold. I mean, that summed up Harry's arrogance. And I can well imagine the same arrogance being applied, and these are just my thoughts and opinions, to we're going to save the rhinos and we're going to save whatever, the gorillas. And if we catch a single person in that rainforest, we'll see what happened to them because we are going to save the planet. I can well imagine that kind of, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I really do. This organisation, Survival International, have made it clear that there are other abuses, and it's common, goes on all over the place all the time. And African parks are, as I say, in charge of 22 national parks across 12 countries. I don't think African parks are the correct people to be investigating anything at all. In fact, if Prince Harry really wanted to do some good, he's got a Netflix contract. Why can't he take a Netflix film crew down there and have a look and find out what's really going on? And not only that, let us all know, highlight certain things, the difficulties of people who live in whichever Congolese country. Why doesn't he highlight these problems? Why doesn't he go to the cobalt mines where the little kids are being digging for things? But everybody's being told electric cars are saving the planet, blah, blah, blah. Well, I urge you to go and look up cobalt mines and electric lithium batteries and the problems that that can cause. I'm not defending, combustion fuel or whatever you call it, petrol, diesel vehicles. But at the same time, I think everything's been lent on electricity as if that is the saviour of planet Earth. As I said yesterday, the guy just blunders from one thing to another, but I get the impression from that statement, when the Duke became aware of these serious allegations, he immediately escalated them to the CEO, another way of pass the buck, and chairman of the Board of African Parks, the appropriate people to handle next steps. That sounds like I couldn't care less. I'm off to smoke a spliff, take some mushrooms, get pissed. I couldn't care less. It's miles away from me. Who cares what's going on there? I mean, the allegations are of torture and rape. Torture and rape. There's been money given to African parks by the European Union, some money from the States, I believe some money from Britain, and some billionaire, I don't know the name of, who owns Chelsea Football Club. I'm not sure about that. Might not be Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea fans, don't shoot me. I mean, there's just, it is an absolute minefield of, it's horrendous. It's horrendous. This absolutely dwarfs the Epstein allegation. People making a fuss about Charles, cash for honours. This dwarfs all of that. And who cares? Who cares actually if people donate money for honours? Who cares? Because the money's coming in and it goes to a good cause. That is not raping some impoverished Indigenous lady. That is not torturing some impoverished Indigenous people who know the forest better than anybody else and don't need some do-gooding bloody multimillionaires coming along with rangers with machine guns and doing God knows what, God knows where. I'm certain this subject is way out of my league, way too complicated, but I did sit off to look into it a little bit more, and it was really when Harry himself made that statement. He's bloody well known about this for a long time. Bloody well known about it. And after all his pontificating about racism, blah, blah, blah. Now, there's a couple of other things that I want to address quickly. There was one comment a few videos back from somebody who's not a fan of Meghan and Harry, let's put it that way. And they basically said that I'm a sugar because I don't hate on them sufficiently. I don't stick the knife in sufficiently. Well, I'm not here to stick the knife in with Harry and Meghan. I'm watching them as public figures and I'm commenting on their public persona, which brings me to sugars equally come in the comments and say that I do nothing but bully Harry and Meghan. Well, firstly, in order to bully, one must have power over that person, be more powerful. These are multi-millionaire members of the British royal family who do nothing but put themselves out in the spotlight and on a red carpet. And then, or publish books or put out Netflix shows, and then don't you dare comment on it. Well, you can as long as it's nice. As long as it's nice. I mean, it's shocking, this. It is shocking. I feel that a lot more digging is going to go on this, and I also feel that the Mail on Sunday would not have done anything at all unless they've got video footage. I bet you they've had people down there on the ground filming stuff that's been going on. This is what I mean about the British press. They spend ages before they break a story, ages. And this one clearly has been going on a long time. And I bet it was going on way before last May. Could this be why he suddenly dropped his action the other week? Could this be why some sugars have been deleting their accounts because they knew this was coming? I mean, this story is actually worse than the story that I believe will break, that money from Harry and Meghan will be connected to the sugars and their attacks and death threats. And that's going to be a big story if and when that breaks. And I believe that will break. This is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I mean, the Indigenous people apparently have been subjected to disturbing intimidation. Does that ring any bells with any of you guys? Certainly does with me. Not that I'm suggesting that the abuse that we've received online from sugars compares in any way, shape or form to defenceless people. Defenceless people who live by the forest, who collect medicinal herbs and spices, who know which trees to cut down, who know better than anybody how to, being threatened, gunpoint, rangers, raped, tortured. This is really bad, and I think it's going to blow up. I think actually a lot of people, YouTubers like me, coming from our point of view, have been reluctant, will be reluctant, because it is so shocking, even for us, that we want to sit back and wait and see more information come out. And that is the reluctance, because it's horrifying. I'm sorry this has been a bit of a dark video today, but I'll put a link in the description to that. Not that the cobalt mining has anything to do with, at this stage, anything to do with Prince Harry, but just goes to show that we're all using devices and using electric batteries and stuff, and where did the cobalt come from in the first place? It makes me think I'm going to hang on to this phone just a little bit longer. A lot longer. As always, look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions in the comments below.